The Pit from 1981 is the story of a boy, Jamie, growing up and getting through that awkward stage of your life. We've all been there before, when you drop the napkin under the table to sneak a peek at your babysitter. Or how about whenever you trick your librarian to flash you so you could snap a picture? And I'm sure we've all been in that stage in our lives when we pushed an old lady into a pit so she could be eaten alive by glowing-eyed creatures. The Pit opens up on Halloween night, with all the kids out trick-or-treating. One kid, Jamie, is dressed up as a ghost. He goes to some popular kid and asks to be in his club. Given his past with this bully, well, let's just say he's not going to get in. That's not until Jamie tells him there's a big bag of jewels out in the woods that he's found, and he offers it to the bully for free. All he wants is to be in his club. Well, of course, the bully finds the bag, but it's just a trap, and Jamie pushes him into the pit. Next, we meet Jamie's mother and father, who are interviewing a babysitter. They inform Sandy that Jamie is a good kid, but he's just in that awkward stage, and he isn't making any friends. We see Jamie attempting to talk to other people, but for no reason at all, everyone is just awful to him. Take this girl, Abigail. All he wants to do is check out her bike, but she freaks out on him and calls him a funny person.
Why don't you go back where you came from, funny person?
Even these old ladies call him names, calling him the most offensive thing in the world.
He'll grow up. Surely, my dear, but into what? One of those hippies.
That night, around dinner, is when Jamie pulls the old napkin on the ground up the skirt bit. But he gets caught by his dad, who probably did the exact same move when he was that age. The next day, Jamie's parents leave town for a couple days, so it's just Jamie and Sandy in the house now. They talk a little bit and get to know each other. Sandy says that she has a boyfriend, and boy, Jamie doesn't like to hear that one bit. Like he had a chance anyway. He says that he's going to go upstairs and talk to Teddy. Who's Teddy, you might ask? His teddy bear. Now, Teddy does talk back to Jamie. However, I'm not sure if it's real, like a possessed teddy bear, or if it's just in Jamie's head. There is some evidence later on that suggests Teddy is real, but I don't know. It could go either way. That night, Jamie sneaks out of bed to listen in on Sandy's conversation with her boyfriend, who's some high school football star. She talks a little bit about how Jamie has the body of a 12-year-old, but his mind is much younger. In the end, Alan, her boyfriend, invites them both to his football game the next night. At breakfast, Jamie brings up that he has a secret that he wants to tell Sandy, and he tells her about the hole in the ground. And at the bottom are things with tiny yellow eyes, which he thinks are trolls. Sandy doesn't believe him.
Do they talk to you, Jamie? It isn't funny, you know.
They go to the football game, and of course, every time Alan does something good, Sandy is happy and Jamie is mad, jealous of him. After the game, he gives him a ride home, and I thought Alan would be the typical high school jock that's kind of mean, but no, he's a nice guy, offering to teach Jamie how to play football sometime. When they do get home, Jamie runs up the steps, but Sandy stays behind for a little making out in the car, which Jamie doesn't like one bit. Later that night, Jamie and Sandy are talking. Now, Sandy is going to school for psychology, so a troubled kid is right up her alley. She asks Jamie why he thinks that he doesn't have any friends, and he says he does. He has Teddy, some animals in a terrarium he has, and of course, the trolologs, the things in the pit. Sandy looks up the word in the dictionary, and the closest thing she can find is a troglodyte.
Right here.
But how could that be?
What does that say?
She thinks that this is only fairy tales and myths. Then, somehow, Jamie convinces Sandy to give him a bath. Weird, but okay. I mean, this is a 12-year-old that obviously has the hots for you, and now you're gonna bathe him? In the tub, Jamie admits that he does love her, and although she seems flattered, Sandy says that she's twice his age, and that when he gets older, he'll forget all about her. He changes the subject back to the trawler logs, and he wonders what they eat. As a joke, Sandy says chocolate bars.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Probably chocolate bars. How should I know?
Chocolate? Chocolate! Chocolate!
Then things get even weirder when Jamie says his mother gives him lots of baths. Like he's always dirty. What's going on with this poor kid? The next day, we see Jamie going to the pit, and he throws in a bunch of chocolate bars, which the creatures don't really seem interested in. So he moves on to other food, meat. He stops at the local butcher and buys a whole bunch of hamburger. When Jamie throws that into the pit, well, they scarf it right up. So now he knows that they're carnivores. They need meat. The next day, Jamie sneaks into Sandy's room and steals all of her money. Then he heads to the butcher for more meat, which he feeds to his friends. But now he's out of money. How will he feed them? Well, that's for future Jamie to worry about. For now, he's got some creeping to do. He has this whole big plan to see the town librarian's boobies. It's quite an elaborate setup, too, for a 12-year-old. He calls her and, using a tape recorder, tells her that he's kidnapped her niece, the girl from earlier that wouldn't allow Jamie to ride her bike. He says that he'll let her go if she gives him a show. What? What kind of person thinks, oh, my niece is kidnapped, and instead of giving them money for the ransom, they just want me to flash them? Obviously, this is a prank, but she falls for it nonetheless. Just then, Abigail walks in on her aunt and wonders what the heck she's doing. Obviously, this chick's mad, and Jamie just laughs it off. Now, Jamie has to face the facts and find a way to feed his troglodyte friends. When trying to steal meat off the truck doesn't work, he moves on to stealing the whole cow. Obviously, this doesn't work out so well, because the cow isn't budging. So, that's not going to work. He talks to Teddy about his conundrum, and the stuffed animal suggests people. Jamie says, sure, why didn't I think of that? But only the bad ones. So the first victim? You guessed it, a little girl. But come on, she had it coming. Jamie gets her to the pit and not only steals her bike, but also makes her fall in. And the trogs eat her right up. Next is the old lady that called him a hippie. Yep, she's gotta go. This is actually hilarious. Seeing Jamie push her up the hill and then into the woods, then plop, dump her right in. Moving on to Alan, who really didn't deserve it. But he's taken Jamie's crush, so yep, he's gotta go. Didn't see that giant hole in the ground there, buddy? Next, we see the scene from the beginning. And, I mean, it's nothing new. We know that Jamie pushes him in, but we see a little bit more. How he picks up the kid's girlfriend and throws her in there too. Man, aren't those trogs getting full yet? Sandy is obviously upset her boyfriend has gone missing. When she tries to talk to Jamie about it, he doesn't care. So she slaps him in the face. Nice. I love slapping 12-year-olds. Well, she instantly regrets it. And to be nice, she agrees to go with Jamie to see his underground friends. She goes with him into the woods, and she takes a look, and sure enough, they're down there. Sandy knows the significance of a find like this. A whole new species that could be related to humans? She wants to call in some scientists to study them. But of course, Jamie doesn't want to see them locked away in a zoo. They argue back and forth a bit, but then Sandy slips and falls in. Jamie tries to help her, but it's no use, and she's a goner.
It's not my fault she died.
Jamie's pretty upset by this, and when his parents come home, the police get involved. The babysitter of a troubled kid goes missing. Of course they're going to think it's him. But he gives them some fake story about how she got into the car with some random dude, and they seem to buy it. But losing Sandy was the last straw for Jamie, and he decides to just let the trogs out so they can hunt for themselves. And they do, leaving bodies behind for the police to find. One guy caught a glimpse of the creatures, so the police know they're looking for an animal. They gather up a hunting party, and everyone goes into the woods, armed, being told to shoot first and ask questions later. The Troggs see them coming and take off, running back to their home. The hunters have them surrounded, and honestly, it's the perfect situation. Now they can call in a scientist and get these things properly cataloged.
Shoot them!
Okay, just shoot them. Perfect. Jamie gets sent off to his grandparents, and it looks like his life might just change for the better, because he meets a new friend out there, Alicia. They start to play, and Jamie couldn't be happier until she leads him to a pit and pushes him in. I love that ending. It's so dark, but you can't say Jamie didn't have that coming. And that was the pit. I think someone saw Little Shop of Horrors and thought, hey, I can do that but with a hole in the ground. But there's actually a lot going on here, specifically with Jamie. Yes, he's a creepy kid, but all he wanted was some friends. Is that too much to ask for? In a sick way, I liked when he went on his killing spree. It was funny seeing that old lady fall into the pit. I'd say this is kind of an overlooked gem. One interesting piece of trivia I found out is that the director's wife didn't want him to shoot any scenes with nudity in it, which, okay, that's fine, but she allowed him to shoot one scene, a skinny dipping scene that I obviously can't show you. But the reason why he was allowed to shoot it was because that was his daughter. Weird. I would think that would be the only part he wouldn't be allowed to shoot. And why cast your daughter for it? The pit was a pretty good time. I wish you would see the creatures a little bit more. It's not until the end that you actually get to see them for a little bit, but that kind of seems deliberate. They wanted to focus more on Jamie and his awkwardness. I give the pit 2.5 old ladies getting kicked out of their wheelchair out of 4.